Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar and thank you for joining us. So you should be able to see my screen now, and I'm going to get started with some introductions. Hello, my name is Danielle. I'm your host and moderator today. We have Lucas here who is going to be conducting the demo. Now, Lucas won't be taking any breaks. So as I mentioned, you can enter any questions into the Q&A and we will both come on screen at the end to get those answered for you. I want to do a little bit of an introduction here and tell you a little bit about Blue Link. So the short-dated functionality in Blue Link was designed for pharmaceutical and food and beverage distribution industries in mind. And today, Lucas will talk a little bit about how managing short-dated lots can avoid shrink, you can enable pricing rules, and you can enhance visibility to customers. Lucas will also go over the 4 pillars of managing short-dated lots, and these pillars are identify, action, review, and isolate. These 4 pillars will help you utilize your short-dated inventory. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass this over to Lucas. He's just going to take a second to share his screen.
Thanks, Danielle. Next, we're going to talk about how Blue Link ERP can help you with dynamic short-dated pricing, viewing short-dated inventory, isolating close to expired products from being allocated, and how you can take advantage of new features to push short-dated items to your customers online. So right now, some of the biggest challenges that distributors face with short-dated items is how to identify when something becomes short-dated, how do we action those items to avoid forgotten inventory once we do find them, and that involves how do we set up pricing structures to avoid on-the-spot pricing, how do we make short-dated inventory visible to customers to purchase and not be forgotten, how do we review and monitor short-dated inventory continually? And then how do we isolate products that are coming up to expiry date that are not sellable anymore? So avoid shipping product that we shouldn't be shipping to customers. So basically, short-dated products have 4 pillars: identify, action, review, and isolate. Let's start with identify. How do we identify potential short-dated products? And how do we avoid shrink? So we want to come up with some company rules on what is short-dated and which products to action. So for example, maybe our company rule is within 120 days to expiry, we want to classify an item as short-dated. One of the things we need to think about is whether this is a uniform rule for all products or do we have different rules by classification or categories of products. From there, we want to use tools to identify products that fall into these rules as well. So maybe we run reports, maybe we use system screens, and we want to make sure that we build an SOP, so standard operating procedure, that our inventory team can follow. So now into Blue Link, identifying short-dated products can be done in Blue Link using reports, but it can also be done using the inventory lot inquiry screen. So if we go and open the inventory lot inquiry screen up, one of the first things we can do is hit view lots, and we can also sort this from oldest to newest. And this will show us anything in inventory currently that maybe is expired or is coming up on dating. So after identifying product, the next thing we need to do as a company is action those products. So how do we set up pricing structures? One of the first things we need to think of is how we discount these items. And just like the last step, are we discounting them by product? Is it by category of items, or is it uniform across the board? For example, maybe we want to discount by 25% within 120 days to expiry. And maybe less than 60 days to expiry, we want to discount by 50%. And you could even add a rule in there saying within 30 days to expire, we do not want to sell this product, so we want to isolate that. We also need to think about contract pricing. Do we also discount any special pricing customers already receive? So if they're paying $10 and the list price is $12 and we set the short-dated list price to $10, do we need to also set the contract price to $8? So in Blue Link, the short-dated functionality that exists is set up so that you can contain one regular inventory item for the actual product you purchase. We'll call that the parent item. And then we have structure set up to allow you to create short-dated items, which are basically child items that contain pricing structures and link back to that regular item or the parent item. So these are solely used to store pricing and hold containers of what is short-dated. So how much quantity of short-dated do I have for that parent item? Heading back into Blue Link, So in this scenario, let's say we're a pharmaceutical supply company and we found some product in our inventory that we want to set up special pricing for. Specifically, we find this product code here on the lot inquiry screen. We notice that the dating here has long dates, but there is also some short dated product coming up on expiry. When we sort this, we see product coming up in the next few days that are going to be expired, as well as all the way to 2025. So we want to set up some thresholds. And maybe in this case, we want to have a 30-day expiry threshold. We want to have a 60-day to 31-day, a 90-day to 61-day, maybe even 120 to 91 days. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up the parent item. So this is the regular inventory item that we have in Blue Link that we actually purchase from suppliers. Next, what we're going to do is we're actually going to copy this item, and we're going to create a new SKU for this. And this is going to be called M-021801-SD120. And that's going to represent anything that is short dated with 120 days till expiry. We're going to copy the NDCs, UPC codes, and pretty much everything from the main inventory item. Then we're going to click OK. You'll notice the inventory screen refreshes, and now we have a copied product code. The first thing we want to do is go to the lot tracking checkbox and turn this off. This is not going to be a lot tracked product. And we also want to change the inventory type from regular to non-inventory. At this point, you'll see a new checkbox on the inventory screen. And this is called short dated lot item, and we want to check this. This is going to drastically simplify the inventory screen. Before we do anything else with pricing, we want to make sure we link this product to the parent item, which is this item that we were just on and copied this product from. It's going to ask us, do we want to copy existing inventory prices? We will hit yes. And next, we're going to go to days threshold and set up 120 days. And once we click off there, that will tell us that if we sell this product right now, this will include anything that has a lot expiry date between December 21st, 2024 and February 18th, 2025. Looking at today's date, this means that we must have some other short dated thresholds already set up, because this isn't selling this SKU under 120 days to expiry. It's selling it 120 days till the next threshold. And I'll show you in a minute how we can check that in the system. Next, what we want to do is we want to go to the pricing and unit of measure tab, and we will set our pricing. So it looks like our regular SKU we're selling at $7. Maybe we want to discount this a little bit to $6.75. One thing we also don't want to forget is to put in a description that allows us to see that this is short dated. So we'll also type in a description up here at the top of the screen showing SD120 with a dash. So this is representing short dated days 120 or less. And we'll hit save. Now that we've set up that child item, which is a non-inventory item, only holds pricing linked back to lots that are within a specific expiry date range, we want to go back to the normal inventory item, or what we call parent item. When we open the parent item, you're going to notice there is a short dated tab on the right hand side of the screen. And if we go to that short dated tab, this is actually going to tell us that we've set up previous thresholds. So we actually have 120 days till expiry, we have a 60 days till expiry, and 30. So basically what this tells us is that we have a SKU set up from 120 to 61 days of expiry. We have a SKU set up for 60 to 31 days, and then we have a SKU set up for 30 to expiry. So if we sell within any of these date ranges currently, this SKU will give us the correct pricing that should be returned. Okay, now that we've set pricing up, we also need to figure out how do we make these inventory items that we just set up with pricing available for our customers to see and purchase. Remember that if we just set up the pricing, we still don't have a way to push this information to our customers. Now this is something that is industry dependent, so think about whether or not we show this on the web to customers, or do we maybe give them a report showing short dated catalogs. Now Blue Link has a B2B online portal called B2Bop, which does offer short-dated functionality. And this allows customers to see those pricing points that you set up on the ERP side that they can use to specifically buy that product within that date range. And that allows for automatic lot allocation when the order hits the ERP system to ensure that the correct lot gets allocated based on the date range that that customer purchased. So continuing on with the pharmaceutical supply company, here is our sample website where customers can come and purchase product from us. You're going to notice when they log in, and they go to the shop page, there's now a toggle that allows them to search specifically for short-dated items. So if we move our mouse down and we go to the short-dated items option, they're going to see different date thresholds of product that we offer in the system. They can also search for specific categories. So let's say they went to the medical category. They'll be able to see within the medical category that we have the following short-dated options available. So we have some product within 120 days. If we click on that, we're actually going to find the needle product we had just set up. But they can also toggle between different date ranges. Additionally, customers can search for specific SKUs or descriptions. So in this case, the needle we set up, if the customer wants to search for that and order that specifically, they'll notice when they scroll down through the search results that you can purchase the regular product, and that's actually on promo right now. You can also purchase the short-dated item, and there's additional short-dated items. So this is short-dated 120 days till expiry, short-dated 30 days till expiry, or short-dated 60 days. So based on their needs, they can come here and purchase one of these items. And you'll see the specific pricing for each item. In this case, let's say we want to purchase the short-dated 30 days till expiry. We'll add that to our cart, and we will check out. We just need to let this process, and once we see the confirmation notice, we will head over into the sales order review screen. You'll notice when we get back in the Blue Link ERP sales order review screen, you'll see the order that the customer submitted. If we open that order up and click on allocated lots, you'll notice the lot got automatically allocated upon the order submitting into the system for that 30-day date range. Okay, let's go back over to my slides. So now that we've decided as a company how to action and make those products visible to our customers using an online platform such as Blue Link's B2Bop site, we need to start thinking about the review process. So one of the things that we need to ensure as a company is that we continually review our short-dated items. And what I mean by that is we need to set up an SOP to make sure we repeat the previous processes, the identify and action processes. We also need to start thinking about what do we do with items that fall into a non-sellable date range, as well as monitoring sales versus shrink of short-dated items. So do we need to review our purchasing procedures because we are encountering too many non-sellable or expired products? And how do we reduce the short-dated items that we're seeing if we're not selling them on time? So as part of our review process as a company, what we can do is we can open up the quick inventory lookup screen in Blue Link. Now that we've set up short-dated items, you'll notice we have new columns visible on the quick inventory lookup screen, including the short-dated units on hand and display unit of measure, expired quantity and display unit of measure, from lot expiry and to lot expiry date ranges, short-dated days threshold, and the short-dated parent code. So we have a few ways we can use these columns in Blue Link. First, if we know of a product that we're looking for specifically, we can enter the product code in an asterisk, and we can hit enter. And you're going to notice it shows us the regular inventory item, and you'll scroll over to the right here and notice that there's no short-dated parent item related to that. And you'll also see the child items that we had set up previously. If we sum up the units on hand, we'll be able to see the same total from the parent item level if we were to sum up the short-dated and units on hand column. And this will tell us what our total units on hand is across the system. Now, more importantly, if we want to set up a review process and make sure that we're actioning items and monitoring the on-hand quantity of short-dated items, assuming we followed the previous identification and action steps, we can use the quick inventory lookup screen to create some filters to watch our short-dated on-hand inventory. So first we're going to reset this form. And next we're going to filter the short-dated threshold excluding blanks, and excluding zeros. We're also going to exclude 0 units on hand, and we'll hit the Save button to create a filter here. Here we'll create a new filter called short-dated items. And we'll hit Save. Now anytime we open the quick inventory lookup screen, we can periodically come and look at this filter and just review the items that we currently have on hand that are short-dated and figure out if they're coming up to expiry and whether we need to do something else with this product if they're in a non-sellable state. So as part of our review process, we started to think about what to do with items that fall into a non-sellable state. And we also started to think about the rules of what is non-sellable. So the final process is the isolation process. How do we want to remove non-sellable inventory from our main warehouse to ensure that our customers, maybe our customer service team, our sales reps, do not see that inventory as items that can be sold? We also need to think about a standard operating procedure based on our industry to determine what we should do next with this product. Do we destroy the product? Do we sell back the product through sell back programs? It's our third-party programs that we can use to get rid of this inventory. So maybe as a company, we have a rule that within 15 days to expiration, we do not sell a product. One of the things we could have done using the short-dated structures that are set up is created an item that does not show on the web to customers that holds the units on hand for 15 days or less to make sure that our team does not allocate those lots accidentally. So what we can do is we can come back into the main parent item and we can copy this again into a child item. And we're going to copy this code and create an expired SKU. We'll also turn off lot tracking again, and we will turn this into a non-inventory item and check the short-dated lot item one more time. And for this SKU, we're going to select the parent item and say this is within 15 days to expiry. Now, we don't really care about pricing too much on this SKU, but one of the things we do care about is making sure this is not visible to our customers on the web. So we're going to turn off the Show on Web button. And we will hit Save. Now, if we follow this procedure for all of our inventory items, what we can do is we can use the quick inventory lookup screen, and we can look at anything that has a short dated day threshold within 15 days. So we can click on the SD threshold column, say number filters, and filter specifically to 15 days, or we could do less than or equal 15 days. In this case, I'm just going to do 15 directly. But what this allows us to do is identify any inventory that we cannot sell right now to our customers. Now, currently, if our team looks in the system at this SKU, they're going to notice that there are products associated to this SKU that have the EXP product code. And we could have added a description here saying expired, do not sell in the previous step. Now, one thing this does allow us to do is ensure that the 30-day threshold does not select expired lots when customers are purchasing this SKU or our team is selling this SKU. Now, one of the things that we want to do now is make sure that we isolate this expired product or close to expired product so that nobody sees it in our main warehouse and we do not accidentally sell it. So for customers that deal with short-dated inventory, we do recommend setting up a quarantine-style virtual warehouse to move that inventory into until you use your SOP to determine what to do next with the product. And that avoids anybody from seeing that inventory, selling it accidentally, and so on. It also allows you to run an inventory valuation on product that you need to destroy so that you know the value of what you're destroying or getting rid of. When using the quick inventory lookup screen, you'd want to change your location to be the warehouse that you're looking at doing the transfer from, and you'd see what's currently in that warehouse. And then you'd simply open the inventory transfer screen and create a new transfer from that warehouse to your quarantine location. And then add the product that you want to transfer over, allocate the associated lots, and close the transfer. Additionally, the steps we previously went through can also be identified using the inventory lot inquiry screen. So if you open up the lot inquiry screen and filter for that product code you're looking for, you can also just sort based on date close to expiry, find lots that are close to expiry that you want to isolate and move those items out of the main location or specified location to your quarantine location. Overall, the key takeaways from today's session include if you're dealing with short-dated inventory, you should definitely implement lot tracking if you haven't already done so. You need to ensure your company has SOPs in place to efficiently handle short-dated inventory, including the identify, action, review, and isolate stages we spoke about today. It's also important that your company implements web solutions such as B2Bop to provide new short-dated sales channels if you do have opportunities to sell that product to your customer. And use virtual warehouses to separate non-sellable product so that you can better report on it, ensure your customers and your internal team are not seeing inaccurate inventory levels. And implementing all these different steps should help your company alleviate forgotten inventory and shrink. So at this point, I'm going to hand it back over to Danielle, and I believe we're going to open up the...
Perfect. Thanks, Lucas. So I'm going to bring Lucas back on screen. Just share your camera, and we're going to get through some questions that we got. So Lucas, we got one question in here that reads, is there a way to batch create short-dated 120 or short-dated 60 for a series of products, or do we have to go one at a time?
Yeah, technically we could do that. Various mechanisms to do it. One option would be if you give us rules saying, hey, within X amount of days, we want to automatically create that item. If we do have a lot within that date range, we could actually set up some automated processes to do that for you. There is options as well using different inventory tools to create items in batch, or you can even just submit a ticket to our help desk task to create all those in batch one time as well.
Okay, awesome. A few other questions we got in. So can the system alert users of short-dated product?
Yes, we have a few ways that we can do that to help identify those products. So first, you can use system screens like the lot inquiry screen and filter on upcoming lot expiry dates. You can also run system reports from the reports menu within Blue Link, or we can set up ARM reports, which are designed to automatically send those alerts to users based on those specific rules.
Okay, I'm glad that you brought up the ARM. So for those of you watching, the ARM is the Automated Routines Manager, and it can do a whole bunch of things in Blue Link, such as set up, automated report alerts, like mentioned by Lucas. So that's a really cool one. If you want more information about that, just let us know. Another question here, Lucas, that we got in. Does each user have to set parameters, or can parameters be set for all users?
Just to clarify that question too, if we're talking about reporting, we can set up broad across the board parameters to send those reports if we're setting up an automated job. If you're trying to just find inventory one-offs, you could also use your own parameters to find that date range.
So it's different parameters for reports and then different parameters to actually manage the inventory.
Potentially.
Okay, great. Another question here. If the orders come through EDI or third-party software company system, let me rephrase that. If the orders come through EDI or third-party software company system cannot identify short-dated product, so it cannot identify the child product.
We do actually have the same mechanism that we were talking about with our B2B system, B2Bop. Our web services actually support that same structure. So if you're doing third-party integrations with another website and you want to be able to ensure the system can store those pricing thresholds and allow your third-party website to also pull that information and push it back to the system and allocate those lots, that is supported as well. So if you're currently doing that, we'd recommend that we set up a consulting session just to walk through how the web services portion of that would work.
Perfect. Can the system help manage regulatory guidelines that are in place for products with expiration?
Yes. So if your industry requires you to stop selling those products to customers within like 30 days, for example, you can use a combination of lot statuses and that quarantine process that I mentioned to stop your team from shipping those items to customers. You could actually automate this a bit too using Blue Link's ARM to set lot statuses to a non-allocatable status and send a list of those lots that need to be quarantined to a specific user on the compliance team or inventory team. Our ARM can basically assist with the identifying lots coming up on dating, actioning those items, as well as isolating them from being sold.
Okay, perfect. I think that's a good example because if you have a 30-day regulation, it can be difficult to manage that product, right? Okay, last question. Again, guys, if you have any more questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A or the chat right now. You can also respond to the email. We'll send you the recording. So we'll get your questions answered if you come up with it later. So one last question, Lucas. Are there options to isolate and document short-dated items that are not just expired, but also recalled or flagged, maybe by health authorities?
Yeah, so you can use other lot statuses in the system, such as like a recall status, or follow the same quarantine process that I mentioned prior to isolate those lots. However, Blue Link also provides functionality for users to document notes on lots, so using the F3 notes feature on the lot inquiry screen. And you could record details about the recall so that other users could review this information in future, rather than you just having inside knowledge.
Yeah, and actually the F3 notes is another cool feature. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that you can access F3 notes from multiple places in the system, right? It's, you don't have to necessarily navigate back to the screen you entered that note in.
Yeah, exactly. So I could use the inventory screen and view all the notes recorded against that items, or I could actually look at it from a lot specifically and record notes on that lot. This also shows me who recorded those notes and when. And this works the same way around the system in other parts too. So sales orders and customers, you can view all the notes on that specific customer or filter down even further to a specific order.
Awesome. Cool. So I think that's all of the questions right now, Lucas. Thank you so much for your time today. Audience, again, if you have any questions, feel free to send them later on and we'll get them answered. All right, thank you everybody and enjoy the rest of your day.